guards in the world.
Well, he really is. He's a tremendous scorer, a brilliant pick-and-roll playmaker. He'll be a key for France to try to slow down.
And, of course, France led by the reigning NBA champion, the San Antonio Spurs, Boris Diaw.
Without Tony Parker and some other NBA veterans, he has certainly been the big brother to a relatively young French team who knocked off Spain.
The officials in this one from Brazil, Greece, and Argentina. Serbia finished fourth in qualifying play in Group A, but they've really put it together in the knockout stage. They're ranked number 11 in the latest FIBA World Rankings. France number 8, but friend, you really feel that this game is a toss-up?
Well, it is. Obviously, Teodosic is a guy that Coach Collet and his French team have to slow down. Boris Diaw has been the catalyst for France. They got a great performance from Rudy Gobert off the bench up front in slowing down the Gasols. Last game came down to the final second. I think this is really an evenly matched game.
France is the home team wearing the white uniforms, Serbia in red. Second meeting of the tournament between these two teams. Tremendous environment in Madrid, Spain, as the second semifinal of the FIBA World Cup of Basketball is underway. Fran, give us an idea of what type of game we'll see today.
Well, when you're watching at home, just keep your eye on number 4 right there, Teodosic, because he not only can do that with his outstanding shooting, but he's a tremendous playmaker, and so France has to be concerned with him. If you're watching France, the man with the ball right now, Diaw, is going to be the team's playmaker from the low post.
Here's Nicholas Batum of the Portland Trail Blazers. They drop it down low. Turnaround jumper by Joffrey Laverne. And France goes 0 for 1 on its first attempt of the game. Off the mark by Markovic.
And you have Markovic and Teodosic in the backcourt. Both are extremely proficient playmaking guards, although Markovic not the scorer that Teodosic is.
Diaw wraparound pass intercepted by Teodosic. And now Serbia running the floor. Good, strong finish by Nikola Kalinic.
He has had a good tournament. Very athletic young player. Can run the floor. Doesn't mind trying to dunk on you. Impressive energy.
Diaw will try a 3, and he gets France on the board.
Diaw got off to a great start versus Spain, hitting 2 shots just like that drew the Gasols away from the basket early.
Fran, you talked about it, 2 very well-coached basketball teams as well.
Well, they're well-coached, and both teams have been together for a long period of time.
There's Markovic in the paint, and a good offensive start for Serbia.
Keep in mind, Kevin, that in many cases these teams have been together since mid-July, and it's daily practices. There's a lot of continuity both ways.
Diaw drops it off. Good feed. Laverne comes up short, and it's cleared by Bjelica.
Laverne missed 2 easy shots so far.
Lefty hook off the mark by the top scorer on this Serbia team, Miroslav Radulica. Now a chance for France to pull within 1 or tie. Michael Jelabal's 3 rims in and out.
This is a heavy-duty pick-and-roll team, Serbia. Everybody touches the ball, and then it comes back to the point guard's hands, and they spread it.
They get it down low, and the big fella, Radulica, misfires on the first attempt, and he'll work his way to the line. Fran, we talked about it. France winning a very tightly contested, perhaps controversial first game.
You're right. Serbia was in control much of the game. A foul late in a tie game that wasn't called. Bogdanovic went to the rim. France got it back. Laverne got fouled. And that tells the story right there.
Good offensive start to this one for Serbia, who is led at least in part by Miroslav Radulica. Played with the Milwaukee Bucks last season, traded to the Clippers about 2 weeks ago, and then
was released.
Yeah,
he is a free agent right now. He says he'd like to stay in the NBA, but he'll have suitors back across the pond in Europe. Very physical, very good around the basket. The leading scorer for Serbia.
First point of the game for Radulica as Rudy Gobert checks into the game for the first time. Wiry big man from France who was terrific in that upset win over Spain.
He really was. He had more rebounds than both Gasols combined in that game, and he did a good job of shutting down the inside. Watch Diaw, always with his eye on the middle of the court when he has the ball, so he can survey it. And we said this in the last game, I think it's true here. As much as he's such a great passer, he has to score more for this particular French team without the firepower. Look at Radulica. That's what Teodosic does. He doesn't just watch his man, he sees all 5 defenders in pick and roll defense.
Radulica may challenge James Harden for the best beard in this tournament before it's all said and done. It'll stay France basketball.
Take a look. Watch Teodosic. You see the white jersey spread out? And this is classic European basketball. 4 perimeter players and the big rolling hard to the rim.
Look at Diaw back down. Teodosic and a nice feed to Rudy Gobert.
Well, what did we say? Without Tony Parker, the offense goes through Diaw and his terrific ability to be the connector. He connects his teammates to their strengths.
Here's Radulica. Nice feed and a nice cut, but the missed layup by Markovic.
You're not going to see a high NBA level of play here, but you're going to see great team systems.
Here's Nicolas Batum on a 3, and France takes its first lead of the game.
Critical. Batum has been better for France on the defensive end. He has struggled behind the arc. They could use that. Only a 6-3 of the tournament.
Radulica, good ball movement by Serbia.
Wow,
Extra
how much
pass.
fun is this?
Teodosic the 3.
How good is that ball movement?
Four assists in the early going by Serbia, and this is the style of game, Fran, you said we expect to see.
Yep. Watch Diaw. He's surveying the court.
Thomas Hurdle hit maybe the dagger 3 to beat Spain with 2 on the shot clock. Nicolas Batum had to let it fly.
Remember how good Bielitsa was and has been in this tournament. Look at this.
Teodosic all the way.
He's deceptively quick, but more importantly, he plays the game at his pace. In other words, he'll speed up when he needs to, but he's always under control.
7 points in the early going for Milos Teodosic. Fran, we talked about what France has. How about what they potentially could have had if everyone played?
Well, Tony Parker has been with this team since the late 90s. Noah's only played once for France in 2011. The other 3 guys, with all due respect, are replaceable and have been in this tournament. Obviously, you throw Noah Parker in there, changes this whole dynamic. But I like the young big guys for France in this tournament. Laverne, Gobert particularly have been rock solid.
Now, we talk about it from the American perspective, as you see Nenad Kristic back in the game, that the victory for France over Spain was a gigantic upset. Was it viewed that way in Europe?
Yes, no question. France, they understood, and this, you got to give credit to Boris Diaw. They understood the longer they stayed in that game against Spain, in Spain's territory, Spain would tighten up, and they did. 2 for 22 behind the arc. They really panicked, and that's because France was able to stay in that game for 40 minutes. Remember the Patriots-Giants Super Bowl game?
Yep.
Undefeated Patriots, same thing.
Now, Mark Stein, who has done a fantastic job writing on ESPN.com, Fran, he wrote that France has firmly established itself as Europe's new king. Do you agree with that?
I disagree. I think still Spain will be the team for the next few years. They have a lot of good young players on that Spanish team. But no, I don't agree. You know, Parker and Diaw are really coming down the home stretch of their careers. I think there are more good young Spanish players than there are French players.
Nenad Kristic off the mark, and it's Gobert the rebound. 14-10, Serbia leads this game. 3 minutes, 15 seconds to go here in the first quarter of the FIBA World Cup of Basketball semifinal from Madrid.
I think one thing, I think USA's opened up the gap on some of these teams that, you know, have stayed close with them in recent years. The Argentinas, the Spains. If anything, the gap is widening.
Teodosic finds an open Markovic for three, and the Serbian lead is up to 7. Part of an 8-0 run.
Markovic is a streak shooter, but I've watched him for a long time. He's a big game player. He's tough, not afraid to take big shots, not necessarily his main strength.
Diaw's three. Front rim, one and done for France.
Keep your eye on Teodosic, number 4.
Here is Teodosic into the paint, fouled on his way to the basket. We'll see if it's a shooting foul.
When I said he's deceptively quick, what I mean is he's never out of control. He always has an idea of whether he's looking for himself or his teammates.
Hot start for Serbia. They lead France by 7. A live look at Madrid, Spain. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla, Serbia, the 17-10 lead here in the first quarter. Fran, the style of play right now, who does it favor?
Well, it favors Serbia because they're getting what they want offensively. Remember how good a job France did against Spain's offense. But Teodosic, as I mentioned, you know, he's a lightning rod in Europe. Not everybody likes him. He's an edgy guy, hard to coach at times, but he has the ability to control the game because as a point guard, he not only can score at a high rate, but he also is a tremendous playmaker, oftentimes finding the exact right play in your offense.
27-year-old plays with the CSKA Moscow in the Russian League. He was the MVP of the 2014 playoffs. Spent 5 seasons with Olympiacos in the Greek League.
Yep.
Do you see the opportunity for him to come to the NBA?
No, I don't. I think he's going to stay in Europe. He loves the lifestyle. He's the king. He comes to the NBA. Even if he's a starter, he's a role player. In Europe, he's the best guard, really, in Europe at the moment, arguably. And now, as I said, not always easy to coach or officiate or play with, but supreme talent.
When you have talent, that can be a great eliminator.
But he's got a guy coming in for him in Bogdanovic, who's also talented.
27th pick of this year's NBA draft by the Phoenix Suns. He wears number 7 rather. Bogdanovic in a nice cut, and Markovic is on the board. An 11-0 run for Serbia.
And a great pass by Bjelica, who has been one of the surprises of the tournament if you don't follow him closely. 6'10", playmaking forward.
Fall away jumper, and boy did France need that. Evan Fournier hits it.
And that's important for Fournier also. He's been terrific defensively, but he hasn't shot well consistently in this tournament. They could use his offense.
Member of the Orlando Magic. Serbian lead is 8 as Nenad Kristic draws the foul on Rudy Gobert, and he will shoot a pair.
You know what I like what Kristic just did there that we didn't see much of that from the Gasols? He went right at Gobert, body to body. When you're attacking a guy with this length, you got to go right through him, and you can't baby the ball up there, which I felt Marc and Paul Gasol did in that loss to France.
First foul of the game called on Rudy Gobert. It sends Nenad Kristic to the line. Currently plays in the Turkish League, but as NBA fans well know, first-round pick of the Nets back in 2002. Spent parts of 8 seasons in the NBA, Fran, with the Nets, the Thunder, and the Celtics.
Yeah, a former all-rookie team guy. He's nursing a thigh injury right now, so it's given Radulic a chance to play more. But, you know, one of the veterans, and I say this often, all of these guys on the court right now, in one way, shape, or form, have either been teammates in Europe, played against each other since they were 16. There's a healthy, maybe not always healthy, familiarity with each other. And Kristic is one of those guys that goes back to junior days. as a 16, 17-year-old.
And they get the foul on Kalinic, just the first team foul against Serbia. Well, the average NBA fan will look at the two rosters and they'll say, all right, France has Nicolas Batum. They have Boris Diaw on this team. Evan Fournier plays in the NBA. But you said don't just judge these two teams by who plays in the NBA. Why is that?
Well, because if you look at Teodosic, for example, today he's the best or second best player on the floor and can dominate this game, and he has to this point, and he's not in the NBA. And here you got Batum, a starter, right, on a good team, Portland last year. It's that shot who, is just another guy out there at the moment. Not to take anything away from Nicholas, but these other guys can play, and they prove it time and time again in FIBA play.
6 points now for Nicolas Batum. Serbia will hold 4-1.
Nice pass.
Good feed from Kristic. Batted off the rim. You can do that in international play. Heads-up play by Rudy Gobert. Fran Fraschilla mentioned off the top, Milos Teodosic would be a factor in this game. He's been that. France able to get back in this first quarter. Back in Madrid, Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla. Largest lead of the game for Serbia was 20-10, but France closed the first quarter on a 5-1 run to make it a 6-point game. Fran, what stood out to you in the first 10 minutes?
The way Teodosic controlled this game, I think got them off to a great start. France could really use a good shooting performance from this guy, Nick Batum, and Fournier as well. Now, what I love what Batum and Fournier did versus Spain is they were outstanding on the perimeter defensively. Watch Teodosic.
Nice drop off, and the miss from about 3 feet away by Stefan Jovic in the game.
If you don't know much about these two teams, just watch number 4 in red when he has the ball, because he's really the key to this whole Serbia system. See, without Tony Parker driving and kicking, you see a contested shot there Fournier has to take. Fournier and Batum do not get the kind of open looks they're used to.
Look at Teodosic. Pull up on the spot. He's got 10 points. He's got 11 points now.
Well, you can't give him any room, and he lulled Batum to sleep that time. This is what makes him so difficult, his ability to make shots. That's a good look by Batum.
Gelabal fights for it.
But think about it. Without Parker getting to the basket, Batum and Fournier are basically resigned to shooting contested shots because you don't have to help off Batum if no one's attacking the paint, and that makes it tough to make those shots. It's not Damian Lillard out there during the Blazers season.
Foul was called on the Bielitsa last time.
Fournier tried to throw it off the back of the Serb, and he misfired.
6 turnovers now for France.
Coach Collet's not going to like that.
Nice backdoor cut, and there he is again. Milos Teodosic. He's got 13 points, largest lead of the game for Serbia.
You see how well Serbia spreads the floor out and moves people and the ball?
Batum butted heads with Jovic and turned it over, and now a whistle as Batum is down on the ground.
I think Coach Djordjevic, on the one hand, he's saying you're not supposed to stop play, but then he did point to Batum.
I'll take another look at what happened to the Portland Trailblazers star Nicolas Batum.
They banged heads. Jovic and Batum just banged heads. Watch Jovic reach in. Boom. And he crumbled. Hope he's okay.
Well, obvious grave concern there on the sidelines for France, but of course here in the States, the Portland Trailblazers, and what he means to the Blazers team. Nicolas Batum signed a big extension with Portland in 2012, but as far as the game goes, Fran, what a start for Teodosic.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about. When you talk about Serbia, you must know where he is at all times. Batum, a good defender. That time he just gave Teodosic a little bit of space. And this is why he's always been an impressive. Hopefully Nick Batum is going to be okay. Nick is 25. He's been with watch they bump heads right there. I mean, he really got hit, went head to head right there. But Nick's been with the national team national team program since he was 15. His 10th year with France. His father was a professional player who tragically died on the court in a French Pro League game back in the early 90s.
This is Jovic. Feeds it down low to Radulica, who will work his way to the line. And Serbia is getting what they want on the offensive end, Fran.
Yep, they really are. Now watch what happens. Jovic is going to drive. So Serbia's bigs know on a baseline drive, you just get to the middle of the rim. And that's what we call organized dribble penetration. Whenever the ball is driven middle or baseline, the other four red shirts know where to rotate to in the openings in that defense.
Foul called on Gelabal, first of the quarter on France. Neither one of these teams outstanding from the line as a team, both below 70% in this tournament, but Serbia 4 of 7 in this game. As Radulica knocks down both. 7-0 run to start the quarter by Serbia. Three-pointer by Pietrus, no good. Teodosic drops it off. No one stops the ball, and Radulica makes France pay.
Unlike the defense that France put on Spain to stifle them, this has been a first-half clinic. Pick and roll ball movement at its best.
Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla back with you midway through the second quarter. Serbia doubling up France on the scoreboard, Fran, and their two stars have lived up to the billing.
Both are point guards, both are playmakers, but they've also shot the ball very well. You know, Boris Diaw told his French teammates in that game against Spain, don't worry about our offense. We must play great defense. And right now, neither is showing up. Serbia drops to the 2-3 zone out of the timeout. Let's see how France handles this.
Good ball movement in the three by Hurdle. Comes up short. Second effort fought for. Tipped up and in by Joffrey Laverne.
Now remember, Laverne played in Serbia last year for Partizan. He and Bogdan Bogdanovic were teammates. So he's very familiar with the Serbian team. He had 19 in that first meeting.
Second round pick of the Memphis Grizzlies in the 2013 draft. Traded to Denver on draft day as the first miss of the game for Teodosic.
Watch Laverne had a very good first game. He's going to keep this ball alive and then come up with the basket.
Fran, what is France not doing in this game that they did against Spain?
Well, it's been they are not an efficient offensive team necessarily. And what they did, I thought, in that game versus Spain, they gave themselves a chance by holding Spain to 52 points. Spain came in averaging 88. But in this game, their defense has really broken down. And here's why, Kevin. When you have a playmaking guard like Teodosic in pick and roll, he creates so much indecision at the point of the screen because you don't know whether to switch, to stay, hard hedge, soft hedge. And so he's reading everything.
Well, the off-balance shot by Michael Gelabal, and suddenly France has made this an 11-point game. Clinical offensive start to this one for Serbia. They lead France 30-19 midway through the second quarter. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla. Winner of this game takes on Team USA in the championship game of the 2014 FIBA Basketball World Cup. I know, Fran, that you have said for Team USA it doesn't matter who they play, but
right.
In your opinion, who would be the tougher matchup?
Well, yeah, I don't think it does matter, honestly, but I do think Serbia presents problems for a team as a travel. Think about Serbia right now, the way they've played the last 2.5 games where they dispatched of a good Greece team and a terrific Brazilian team. As a team like the Greek team back in 2006, who was so good at pick and roll that it actually carved Team USA apart, that would present some problems for Team USA if they can get into their rhythm. Not likely to happen, but possibly. And then France with the 4 NBA players certainly has a little bit of size and experience in that regard.
As Hurdle knocks it down and brings the lead back down to single digits. You mentioned the Greece game. That's the last time that Team USA has lost any game, whether exhibition or in tournaments, 62 consecutive wins.
I wouldn't want to play Serbia if I were Coach K, but I have to tell you, they're much more concerned, Team USA, about what they do than either of these two teams.
Down to 2 on the shot clock, and it will count. Stefan Markovic. Heads-up play with 1 on the shot clock, Fran.
Once again, pick and roll, indecision by the defense. Who's covering who? Diaw gets beat, foul. Markovic takes advantage.
Second foul called on Jelabal. And boy, it has been an impressive showing for Teodosic and Markovic.
Kevin, I want to get back and emphasize what I said before about reading pick and roll. If you're a playmaker like Markovic or Teodosic, just think of Peyton Manning picking up a blitz. All right? You've got to react quickly to where the open man is. And so in pick and roll basketball, you got to read not only your man, but the other defenders. And that's what Serbia does so well in the backcourt.
This is Hurdle. Under 10 to shoot. Under 5 to shoot. Hurdle last touched by Serbia. Well, we remind you the 2014 FIBA Basketball World Cup Final comes your way Sunday, 3 Eastern on ESPN2. Team USA taking on the winner of this game. Coverage begins 1 Eastern with the third-place game, Lithuania, taking on the loser of today's game. Serbia turns France over, and on the break, nice finish by Kalinic. 4 points for Kalinic, and the lead is back up to 13. And look at the show of sportsmanship right there by Jelabal and Radulica. We almost had an international incident yesterday, Fran.
Well, we did. Cousins and Valanciunas. But, you know, this gets back to what I said. These guys have been around each other. You know, in the United States, you have guys that play summer basketball, AAU. Then they play against each other in college. A lot of them go on to play in the NBA. Same thing here. Some of these guys have been representing their country since they were 15 and 16, and over the course of a decade or more, they've seen each other on the court so many times. And as I mentioned, some of them are teammates throughout their careers.
Foul last time on Teodosic. 2 on the shot clock. 1, and it's off by Hurdle. Second effort by Boris Diaw.
That ball was almost tipped off the rim, but a good job by Diaw. Diaw has been the coach on the floor for this French team.
Diaw has 7 of the 23 French points. There's Teodosic, Fran. He is so crafty.
This is what I meant when I said he plays the game slow. He took his time. He was never sped up. He could have easily passed that to an open teammate, but he just waited.
Down low, it's Laverne getting it to go. So again, the average American basketball fan will say, Fran, if he's so good, why has he never made his way over here?
You know what? He makes his money, great money, tax-free. He's the star. He's the king. You know, it's like you want to be the main actor in Chicago, or do you want to be a supporting actor on a Broadway show? He likes being the star.
Well, he's the star of this game. He's got 18 points. And Serbia turns France over once again. 9th turnover. Teodosic, what a feed.
How about that pass?
Bielica.
He's dominating this game, Teodosic. And we said it at the very beginning. In order for France to control Serbia, they had to control that guy, and they have not done that.
Largest lead of the game for Serbia as they get a foul on Simonovic. But it's been a textbook start for Milos Teodosic.
Watch this now. Open three, deadly. And remember what I said about being a quarterback, picking up a blitz? He makes very good instantaneous decisions. And by the way, all great point guards do this. Doesn't matter if it's Chris Paul, Steve Nash, Teodosic. You got to have the ability to make the right play at the right time based on what the defense gives you in that split-second moment.
Serbia shooting 64% from the field in this first half as they turn France over once again. 10th turnover. All the way a Euro step by Kalinic.
That was a tough move by Kalinic, but terrific. Watch the footwork here on the steal. Watch him avoid Dio.
7-0 run for Serbia.
See, there's nobody breaking down the defense for France right now. This is where they miss somebody, obviously, like the Hall of Famer Tony Parker.
Hurdle no. Foul is called on France, and Fran, he's averaging Teodosic, he's scored already almost 5.5 points per game over his average.
What I love about the numbers tonight, you know, he didn't start a couple games in pool play. That was just Coach Djordjevic's way of just sending a message. You know, the Serbian coach, you know, he's the king. It's like he's Tom Izzo, he's Bill Self. There's no player greater than the coach in the program. And as good as player as Teodosic is, he knows he's being coached by a guy who's one of the country's all-time greats.
Not just as a coach, but also as a player,
That's
right?
what I meant, exactly.
Yeah. Rare turnover by Serbia, and it's batted off the rim. Another heads-up play.
I love that. I think that would be a great NBA rule.
I agree.
I really do. I hope Adam Silver, and I know they're over there in Madrid. I love that rule. I think it promotes agility and quickness on the part of the big guys. You better make that basket right away instead of let it hanging on the rim.
Good ball movement by France this time, and Edwin Jackson drills a three.
My buddy Edwin
Jackson
averaged 18 points a game last year in Pro A. He had a big third quarter against Serbia. He's the microwave for France. You talk about green light. He's got no light.
Good defense at the rim by Gobert, and now France trying to make a run. Dio, good feed to Batum in the corner, and he's fouled on the floor. Coverage of the WNBA Finals continues tonight on ESPN2, 8 Eastern, presented by Boost Mobile. Up 2-0. The Phoenix Mercury look to close out the series against Elena Delle Donne and the Chicago Sky. Game 3 of the WNBA Finals tonight. And by the way, Gino Auriemma will be joining Zubin Mehenti here at the half. Ought to be fun to see with the U.S. women's team in the building.
Yeah, they're in the building. Got a chance to talk to Skylar Diggins a little while ago. They're going to head to Istanbul for the Women's World Championships. Watch Edwin Jackson, man. Big-time shooter, no conscience. He can really get on a roll. He had a big game in this first meeting.
There is Nicholas Batum, and that is 18 minutes into this game, Fran. The first free throw attempt for France.
And maybe more importantly, good news for France as Batum comes back after colliding with Jovic. And a good sign. I know they're breathing a sigh of relief in the Portland Trailblazer offices. Neil O'Shea and the crew. Terry Stotts.
We've called a lot of French games over the years, and I love the story that once upon a time, Batum, as a three goes down for Bogdanovic. Batum, once upon a time, was nicknamed Bambi for his finesse style of play, but Juan Carlos Navarro wasn't calling him Bambi, Fran, at the 2012 Olympics.
They had that incident late in the game. This kid, Bogdanovic, you know, I wasn't in love with him around draft time, and he's really grown on me in this tournament. I think the Suns may have gotten, I don't want to say a steal, but when you talk to people close to the Serbian team, they think Bogdanovic has the chance to be the next Teodosic in the sense that he's going to be a high-level international player. He already is a very good player, but and the interesting thing about him is he had to play point guard all season for Partizan because Leo Westerman, the outstanding French point guard, was hurt all year, suffered a knee injury. Bogdanovic will stay a couple years, it looks like, and then he'll join the Phoenix Suns.
Batum is up to 10 points. Serbia's lead is 14 as we near the 1-minute mark of this first half.
Watch how they spread the floor.
3 to shoot it. Kristic has it taken away by the active hands of Gobert.
See if France goes 2 for 1 right here.
They do.
Yep, there's the first one.
Jackson fires a 3.
Well, last meeting, Serbia led at the half by 8. Looks like that margin will be a little bit bigger. But France used to coming back.
A whistle and a foul, and it's on Gobert, and that is number 3 on Rudy Gobert. The activity by Gobert and the consternation on the face of Djordjevic.
Yes. You know, Serbia's got some really good young players coming up. We were talking about France and Spain and who's going to be the king of Europe. But Croatia with Saric, Dario Saric had a good tournament. They've got outstanding young players. The former Yugoslavia, Slovenia with the Dragic brothers. In the pipeline now, very good players. You know who's got good young players too? Latvia.
There's Kristic on the jump hook.
They've got a young man, Porzingis, who will be in the lottery next year, a 7-footer. Keep your eye on Latvia going forward. I know that sounds a little crazy.
Closing seconds of the first half. Diaw gets it off in time, but it does not go down. Teodosic with 18. Gino Auriemma joins us coming up. Back in Madrid, Spain, Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla, Serbia, the 46-32 halftime lead. Fran, as we look at the halftime numbers, we know the story of this game has been the play of Milos Teodosic.
And I think also 4 turnovers for Serbia, a lot of it because of Teodosic and Markovic, 2 point guards playing together a lot. Nicholas Batum, Diaw. Got to provide France some scoring punch. It's not been a team that's been an explosive scoring team in this tournament.
Serbia, on the other hand, has been able to pull away from teams with strong third quarters. What changes do you expect Vincent Collet and this French team to make?
Well, in the last meeting between these two teams, actually, now that you mentioned it, France climbed back into this game in the third quarter against this particular Serbia team with great defense. Keep in mind, France bottled up Spain in this last meeting, and they held Spain to 2 for 22 from behind the arc. To this point, Serbia has run their offense and gotten just about anything they wanted.
There's Diaw. A lot of contact, no call. Good ball movement by France. This is Antoine Diaw all the way, and it's knocked off again. We've seen Serbia do that several times.
It's part of FIBA play. These guys have grown up with that rule since they were 14.
A trip to the championship game and a meeting with Team USA on the line. Serbia leading by 14 here, early third quarter.
Watch how the red jerseys are spread out.
Good feed, and Teodosic does it again.
That's classic, what we call European spread pick and roll. 4 perimeters. You got to defend the big man rolling to the rim with help from the weak side, and that opens up that cross-court pass.
Brent, I mean, is there any point where France decides to go box and one, keep a man on him at all times?
I haven't seen Coach Collet do that. Now, they may want to go zone and change up the pace of the game, but really I think what they've got to do is exactly that right there. Figure out ways to score some easy baskets. That one was well earned that time by Batum. But when you don't have a point guard that can force 2 defenders to guard him, everybody has to play the game one-on-one. And that's not France's MO.
A whistle and a foul called on Antoine Diaw. Second foul on Diaw. And boy, Teodosic has been just so good shooting the ball.
And that's that cross-court look. Now you got to close out to him. He's already in his rhythm, so the late closeout's not going to bother him at all.
8 of 9 from the field in this game, 4 of 5 from behind the arc, leading all scorers now with 21 points as he misfires for just the second time.
Jackson's in the game now for France. He's one of those guys that can give you firepower when he's on.
Good move by Batum, but he has his pocket picked. 11 turnovers for France. Nice feed down low, tipped up and in.
I think that was
by Bielitsa.
Yeah, Bielitsa. But again, Raduljica running the floor really puts the pressure on France's bigs, and then Teodosic just continuing to pick France's defense apart.
Here's Jackson behind a Diao screen.
Coach Collet hoping that Jackson can heat up a little bit. He's mercurial, can go hot and cold, but very streaky. You know what I like about Serbia playing the 2 point guards? It gives Teodosic to rest at times off the ball. In other words, it's like a co-pilot flying the Atlantic. You know, when you need to take a break, you got Markovic who can run your team as well at the same time.
Turnover by France. They'll try to get an easy opportunity. Layup is off the mark by Jackson, and Dio fouled by Markovic.
You know, the foul was a smart foul there because France had numbers. That might have been Bielitsa.
Right, it was Bielitsa, his second.
Bielitsa just reached in part because they were at a disadvantage, and he just said, I'm not going to let Dio play 3-on-2. See, watch Bielitsa. He's going to reach in, realizing that he doesn't want to give Dio the chance to be in the open court there without the defense set up.
That's a strategy a lot of teams have used against Team USA.
Well, they know how to foul.
Jovic, correction, it was Dio trying the 3 for France. Lead stays at 16.
Not only have the 2 point guards, but we've seen Bielitsa at 6'10" be a playmaker as well. All I want you to watch, Kevin, is the spacing on the floor. And watch how they go pick and roll, and Teodosic reads.
Drops it off. Nice feed. Krstić can't finish. And there you go. There's the foul in the open floor.
They play with a clock in their heads. They know how many team fouls. They know how many personal fouls. And they also know that they'd rather foul there instead of giving up a break, because they also know they have depth. You talk about selfless, right?
Third foul on Markovic. Tough driving layup that time by Dio.
I haven't seen France go to the rim that easily. That's something that Coach Collet would love to see more of out of Dio and then Hertel when he's in.
Here's Nenad Krstić, former New Jersey Net, Oklahoma City Thunder, and Boston Celtic. All the way to the basket, Bielitsa.
I'll tell you, this guy's helping himself. The T-Wolves drafted him a few years ago. He's been left in Europe. I'm not sure he'll ever come over, but you talk about the versatility of a 6'10" player. He's your example.
As they get a foul.
Squad with USC, just in case.
That's right.
He needs to come down to the field. That was bizarre. I love Pat Hayden, Rhodes Scholar. I remember him and J.K. McKay hooking up for John McKay back in the old days. I just gave away my age. But Steve Sarkisian really has that Trojan team off to a hot start. Watch Bielitsa at 6'10".
I'm going to say, you know, you're just showing off now with the college football knowledge too, right?
It's just a bank of useless information usually.
Here's Jackson behind a screen.
He wants to shoot it, I'm telling you.
Going on Krstić.
Yeah, see, Coach Collet is trying to get him going. He's had 3 pretty good looks and can't knock anything down.
Just 1 of 5 from the field in this one. Krstić. And Serbia content to take its time now.
Krstić always looking to the middle of the floor. Good post fundamental.
Here's Kalinic off the dribble. Last touched by France.
If you're a young post player, watch Kristic and Diao in the post, because they catch, always looking to the middle of the floor to recognize double teams, their own cutters, and then also how they're being guarded one-on-one. And then they make what they think is going to be the appropriate play.
As the officials chat right now, well, Raduljica has talked about the fact that Kristic has been a mentor to him, and Kristic, the captain of this team, has taken on that role.
Yes, he has, because he suffered that thigh injury, so he's not at 100%. But I've watched him since the under-18 days. So you're talking about a guy with a lot of experience, and always good for young players to have that guy to be mentored by.
Whistle and a traveling violation called against Serbia. Just the 7th turnover of the game, the 3rd of the half on Serbia.
I love the job that Sasha Djordjevic has done. Let's watch. Oh, there's no travel. But you got to call one every quarter out of nowhere
right.
in FIBA. I think there's a rule. I think there's a quota. It's like parking tickets. At the end of the month, you got to call a few more travels.
Derek Rose will tell you about that.
That's good for Nick Batum. As I said earlier, Batum, it's not his game to be a creator. You know, he's a terrific defender. He's a shooter, spot up. Watch Kristic.
Working up against Diao.
But always looking middle.
Well, an opportunity here for France to cut this lead down to 12 as they get a foul called on
Kalinic.
It was called on Kalinic.
He's had a good tournament. 24 years old. 22 years old. Undrafted, had a good tournament. Watch the reach.
Now, the Serbia team ranked number 11 in the latest FIBA World Rankings. They finished 7th at Eurobasket, but just a tremendous tradition of Serbian basketball.
Yes, and they were fortunate to be in the World Cup, because good shot there by Gobert, because only the top 6 teams in Eurobasket get an automatic bid, but because Spain was the host country to the FIBA World Cup, the 7th place team in Europe a year ago made the World Cup, and Serbia beat Italy in that classification game.
Nice feed off the dribble, and Kristic, the beneficiary. Bogdanovic is the one who hooked him up.
You talk about Markovic, Bogdanovic, and Teodosic. 3 guys very comfortable with the ball in their hands.
14 assists on 22 baskets for Serbia.
Watch Diao surveying.
3 on the way by Gelabal. Here's Kristic going right at Rudy Gobert.
Wow. He went underneath Gobert. Gobert with the 7'9" wingspan. Little flip shot that time by Kristic.
Diaw's 3 is short. Jovic gobbles it up.
Yeah, Diao and Batum are trying to get something going offensively.
Knocked out of bounds by Hurdle. It'll stay Serbia ball.
Watch Kristic right here, a little crafty. Watch him go up. Good finish inside by Kristic. That was the drive. And here's the up and under. Watch this. He's going to take away the length of Gobert by sneaking one up. Hey, that was pure YMCA ball.
And it was a smart, to know your opponent, right?
He knows Gobert's been effective challenging shots. Sometimes in the post, slow is better.
Whistle.
In fact, more often than not, Kevin, you played. You get that.
Well, we've seen Teodosic at times down low as Kalinic works his way to the line. The foul called on Boris Diaw, number 2. Here is Kalinic at the line to shoot a pair. Serbia 16-point lead. We're under 90 seconds to go here in the third quarter. And, Fran, we talked about it, the notable Serbian players to play in the NBA.
Yeah, there's some guys that are very well, known, at least name-wise. Best there, you'd have to say Vlade Divac and Peja Stojakovic, two guys that had tremendous NBA careers. And Coach Djordjevic had a 9-game cup of coffee with the Portland Trail Blazers. See, they don't have that ability to attack the defense off the dribble.
Hurdle drills a 2. And so the lead is back down to 14. It may have been an issue with the clock here. It didn't start for about 5 seconds of gameplay here.
They're going to institute all that video monitor stuff, I think, after October 1st. But that's come and go in FIBA as to whether there's no rule about having to have a video monitor replay. I think it's in the last part of the game only, but that's going to come into play in FIBA basketball in the future. This youngster, Kalinic, we've talked about, is a late developing player, wasn't drafted, likely we'll never see him in the NBA, but he's got a chance to become a very good European player. He plays for Red Star, one of the historic programs in Europe.
Foul was called on Petrus last time, his first.
Florent, older brother of Mikel.
That's right.
Different kind of player. Florent's a power, undersized forward. He's had a long career in Europe.
Plays for Nancy in the French League. Teammate of former Syracuse star Paul Harris. Jumper on the way by Batum, and he has really been the scoring punch for France in this game. He's got 18.
That's his game, really. Catch and shoot or spot up. That time, good down screen. They got him very rarely as he got in a rhythm jumper today because of that defense. If you're France right now, you just want to hold the line, get a stop, get a score.
Radulica rattles it in.
Anxious to see what Radulica does after this tournament because didn't get much of a chance in Milwaukee making the adjustment. Have a feeling he'll end up back in Europe, but he's really come into his own this summer.
France will hold for 1. Here's Hurdle. 48 does not get it off in time. Another strong quarter for Serbia. Their lead is 15 heading to the 4th. Another strong third quarter by Serbia. Their lead is 15. Fran, they're 10 minutes away from playing Team USA in the championship game.
This would be big for that country. They love their basketball. Of course, the great tradition going back to the former Yugoslavia. Fournier has got to heat up. You've got some guys that can get it going, but it's up to Coach Collet to get them looks off their offense because it's not coming off a dribble penetration and kickouts.
So how do they do that?
Well, it's got to be well executed. There's a flare screen that they run that they've got. It's got to be sharp, crisp offensive execution. The problem is Serbia has scouted France fairly well, and they haven't gotten as many of those looks as they need.
They did a better job in the third quarter of keeping Teodosic in check.
But I also think Coach Djordjevic got him some rest as well, you know.
There's the turnover.
That's a big one.
Here's Batum all the way. He's got 20 points, and Serbia wants a timeout with good reason. Their lead has been cut to 10. France trying to come back here in the semifinal from Madrid. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla back with you. The Serbia lead, which was 15 just moments ago, has been cut to 10. And Fran, in the first meeting back in pool play, France came back on Serbia in that one.
They did. They came back from an 8-point halftime deficit. Serbia also led by 8 with about 5 minutes to go. And that game ended in a controversial finish. I thought Bogdanovic was fouled late. Score tied, no call. Then Joffrey Laverne at the other end was fouled, made his free throw, missed a second on purpose.
Second foul called on Florent Petrus. Largest lead of the game for Serbia has been 18.
You know, you and I showed you my tweet, right? At the end of the third quarter. My man Scooney Penn, former Ohio State star, tweeted me and said, hey, I played with Teodosic. You're right. Best pick and roll player I ever played with. So Scooney's paying attention. Had a great career in Europe.
What Scooney did not address was the whole teammate and whether or not he's the easiest guy to coach. We'll see if Scooney can hit us up on Twitter with
sometimes, for me, the hardest guys to coach were the guys you wanted out on the court in crunch time. The guys that, play with a fire. And that's what Teodosic does. He's not a likable guy, but you know what? Think of the great ones in the NBA, right? Kobe at times. Lots of great players. Larry Bird. You loved him if he was your teammate. Hated to play against him. That's normal.
3 rims in and out for Serbia. Fournier was fouled in transition.
Now, Serbia has been in this position before on a number of occasions in recent years and hasn't closed the deal.
France has not been within single digits since the first minutes of the second quarter. There's a 3 by Hurdle. Ooh, last touched by Serbia. I thought Pietrus may have gotten a hand on that, friend.
Well, let's take a look right here. Hurtel with the shot. Hard to tell here. They can't go check it, so they won't. You know, the thing about it is that same pressure we talked about that Spain had playing home, sometimes a team like Serbia with so much pride, they can taste it. You know, they're 10 points up, 8 minutes away. Sometimes that pressure can get to you. Let's see.
Good two-man game. Batum off the mark, and Serbia's lead remains 10. Open 3 on the way off the mark by Markovic. And it's last touched by Raduljic.
How do you find easy baskets? The one way they've done it in the half court, sharp execution. See, that's a poor pass. That's just, see, they were having success since they don't have the point guard play to attack the basket. They were having success running offense off screens. That time Hurtel trying to make a play, and then later you see Fournier lose it. That hasn't been where they've been at their best, France, in their half court.
How about for Serbia offensively, Fran? They haven't scored yet this quarter. Where do they find their rhythm?
No, they'll find it because they have lots of guys that can handle the ball right now. France is trying to trap Teodosic, and it actually worked. They're not allowing him to take good looks off those pick and roll plays.
Missed opportunity by Hurdle. Jump ball called.
And Steve Nash used to say that when you play pick and roll offense, you got to have a solution for every defense. And there's about 7 or 8 common pick and roll defenses. France, it seems like they've switched now to trapping Teodosic off the ball. So look at who makes plays now. The 6'10 guy.
Bjelica drops it off to Markovic, and the Serbian lead is back to 12. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla with you. Semifinal game of the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Serbia, a 12-point lead on France, 7 minutes and 13 seconds away from a championship game showdown with Team USA.
Serbia and USA have never met in World Championship or Olympic play. They have met, obviously, as the former Yugoslavia. And it also was a period of time when we were playing college players. But this would be a great opportunity for Serbia to advance to the finals.
Batum swings it, 3 on the way by Diaw, and France needed that. The lead is back down to single digits.
Great execution. Batum drew the defense in pick and roll. Diaw's man had to account for the roller. Diaw gets open.
Don't change the channel just yet. Serbia's lead was 18. France has a chance to cut it to 7, possibly 6.
Pick and roll, they're switching it. Hurtel, not usually a driver. Can he drive Bjelica?
Here's Batum, a three on the way, and he got it, and France has cut the lead to 6.
The pressure now is on Serbia to not lose another lead to France, twice within a little over a week.
23 points for Nicholas Batum. And it's tipped up and in. How in the world did that go in for Raduljic?
He just smiled.
Here's Batum, and he'll work his way to the line. Fran, what happened on this?
He redirected this. Gretzky would have loved this. Take a look. Wants to pass. Bielitsa just gets his hand on it.
If that's not on SportsCenter's top 10, I want an investigation.
Bogdanovich, by the way, gets an assist on that.
France had been outscoring Serbia 11-2 here in the fourth quarter before that wild shot. Wild redirection goes in for Raduljic. Nicholas Batum with 24 points for France has trimmed the lead back down to 7, and it'll stay France ball. Batum.
They have shot clock. They don't need to force a tough shot. Good decision by Fournier to get the ball back out to the point guard.
3 on the way by
Watch
Fournier.
out.
What was once an 18-point lead has been cut to 4. Look at the difference in the first 4 minutes and 44 seconds here in the fourth quarter. France outscoring Serbia 15-4.
Kevin, this is such a big deal for Serbia to get to the final. France coming off a Eurobasket championship. That really right now, Serbia is cracking a little bit, and they must regain their composure. Run your stuff, get a good look.
Teodosic has been quiet. Bogdanovich drills a 3.
Excellent set. They downscreened Bogdanovich, who even as a young player, never afraid of a big moment.
You said the coaching in this one would be good. We've seen some terrific drawn-up plays.
Yes.
Kept alive by Fournier, and he'll head to the line.
That's a good foul by Raduljic. Nothing easy at the rim. Give it up, make him earn it. Watch Bogdanovich, man. Ice water. Had a big year this year for Partizan. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what it's all about now. Chippy. Remember what Klay Thompson said yesterday? You're playing for a medal. It's going to get chippy.
Second foul called on Raduljic. Evan Fournier, member of the Orlando Magic, part of a draft day trade with the Denver Nuggets for Aaron Aflalo. Played in 76 games last season. Averaged 8.5 points. He's got 10 points in this one. 8 points coming in the fourth quarter. The lead is back down to 5.
Speaking of Fournier, Jacques Vaughn, Magic coach, made the trip to Granada to spend a few days with him. Watch his newly acquired young wing player. Diao and Raduljic getting tangled up.
Speaking of people making the travel over to Spain, neat story with the Philadelphia 76ers,
yes.
right? Michael Carter-Williams.
Yeah, it was a great story.
Nerlens Noel.
It was Noel and Williams and Joel Embiid. They all came over to see Croatia play and support their future teammate, Dario Saric. And I think he was moved by it. You know, really a nice gesture on the part of Sam Hinkie. I think Brett Brown, the coach, was there as well. And Saric is one of those guys, honestly, Kevin, over the last 12 months has grown on me. Tough, hard-nosed guy, 6'10", rebounds, can handle the ball.
Bielitsa knocks down a pair. The lead is back up to 7. Here's Batum. Quick trigger.
How about Nick Batum?
27 points now for the Portland Trailblazers star.
And you know he's had to get a lot of it on his own. You got to make Batum in this situation a driver.
Well, they make Bogdanovich a driver, and he goes all the way.
He doesn't mind that. He can kill you both ways.
8 points for the Phoenix Sun. Batum again kicks it. Fournier's three. Rims out. Diaw fights for it.
Good D by Serbia. Make Batum drive and give it up. Don't let him keep the hot hand. Watch Teodosic look middle. Someone should cut.
Extra pass. Bogdanovic misses, and it's Diaw who comes away with it.
I got to tell you, Rudy Gobert gets a gold star on that possession. He tipped it to Diaw.
Here's Batum behind a screen. In and out.
Boy, that was halfway down, wasn't it?
Oh, it was.
Now, this is where Teodosic, who's never won a major title, has got to take over this game.
Yeah, they'll get the foul called on Evan Fournier, and we remind you, you can see the championship game of the FIBA Basketball World Cup Sunday 3 Eastern here on ESPN2. Winner of this game takes on Team USA. Timeout by France. We'll take it with them. Tight finish here in Madrid coming up. Thrilling finish here in Madrid. Serbia has led by as many as 18, but France has trimmed the lead to 6. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla, our entire crew here watching a good one. The winner of this game gets Team USA in the championship game.
Winner of this game has also got a net. Well, both of these teams. The winner of the game is going to get a silver medal at worst. So that's important. The loser will play in the bronze medal game, and so nothing's guaranteed there. Of course, the winner of this game has a chance to pull off a major upset over Team USA as well.
7 points for Bogdanovic in this fourth quarter. We've already seen France pull off one major upset in this tournament, knocking off Spain in the quarterfinal round as they get a foul away from the ball.
Well, what you have now, Coach Djordjevic has got the 3 ball handlers in there. Bogdanovic, Markovic, Teodosic, all 6'4", 6'5".
Markovic was just whistled for his 4th foul, and we'll wait to see who this one is on.
It's the old story, Kevin. When you're up like this, you do not want to foul and give France a chance to score from the line.
And that is on Markovic, Fran, and that's number 5. And of course, FIBA rules, he has fouled out of the game. So how big a loss right now is that for Serbia?
Well, it hurts, but you're still looking at 2 quality ball handlers in Bogdanovic and Teodosic. Not sure that foul shouldn't have been called on Teodosic, who reached up. Jovic comes in. The young guard, 23 years old, plays in the Serbian league.
11 points for Markovic. He fouls out as Hurdle heads to the line. He's a 90% free throw shooter in this tournament. Knocks down both. France is 9 of 10 from the line in this game, and it's back down to a 2-possession game.
Batum guarding Teodosic.
Teodosic, quick trigger.
Well, when you gotta eat, you know who to go to. Jovic brought the ball up. That should have been the clue. They were going to run a play for Teodosic.
Here's Batum right back at you.
Back and forth.
30 points now for Nicholas Batum. Teodosic has 24 on 9 of 11 shooting.
Boy, Nick, how about Nick Batum today? Brilliant.
Full court pressure by France as Bogdanovic draws the foul. And you're right, Batum has been terrific.
Well, he's taking it upon himself. First of all, watch Teodosic. He comes off the screen, uses the dribble, and then Batum catch and shoot. That's his game. Quick trigger.
How about Teodosic, 5 of 7 from three-point range. Batum, 7 of 10 from behind the arc. As Bogdanovic misfires on the first attempt.
Well, we talked about these 2 guys, Diaw as well to start the game. Batum really has struggled in this tournament from behind the arc. And no question today, he's been on his game. 17% coming into this game from three.
Here's Diaw open for three. France has been electric from three-point range in the fourth quarter.
Hard show that time by France. Watch again. They're going to show hard.
5 to shoot it. Bogdanovich, left-handed layup.
How do you guard him? They took away the shot behind the line, and they forced him to do what he does well anyway.
Hurdle, good feed, and Batum lays it in.
Now if you're France, you need to stop. Both teams over the limit. If there's a ball screen, you'll probably see a trap.
We haven't had a chance to catch our breath, and I'm not sure I want to. Good feed to Nenad Kristic.
And the reason that happened, Kevin, is because Pietrus had to show hard on Teodosic, but they left Kristic at the rim. Nobody tagged him from the weak side.
Batum, no timeout for France here. Instead, they give it up to Hurdle. Three, and it's a three-point game.
Here we go. Said at the beginning, not a lot of NBA guys out here, but two teams that know how to play the game.
High drama in Madrid. Here's Kristic working on Pietrus. France has one timeout, and Hurdle is fouled by Teodosic.
Trying to figure out, I thought Serbia over the limit.
Second personal called on Teodosic.
Watch the ball movement. Hurtel, kick out. Diaw kind of feels the moment. Not uncommon for him.
Well, it is a shooting foul, and so it sends.
You know, maybe they just didn't want France to shoot another three. But I think this helps France.
There's no doubt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it a one-possession game if he hits both. And more importantly, it stops the clock. Hurdle hits both free throws. It is a one-possession game.
Pick and roll defense at the point of the screen is going to be critical because Teodosic and Bogdanovich have had an answer for every defensive coverage so far.
Teodosic with 5 to shoot. Free throw line jumper is too strong, and Diaw rebounds.
Remember, there's no timeouts on a live ball.
Hurdle is fouled again by Teodosic.
They don't want him to shoot the three, but I like that if I'm Coach Collet. Remember the strategy. You can't call timeout. Hurtel was going to pull up and shoot the three. Teodosic is going to play the foul game.
What do you think of that strategy?
You know, we're not used to it over here. I don't actually mind if he can make both to set up a situation where France can press a little bit and foul right away. I think there's time to go back and forth and play that foul game if you're France.
They also foul a 90% free throw shooter in this tournament. Hurdle knocks down the first. Second one rims out, and immediately Pietrus commits the foul.
And right now, that foul looks good. That's the game they play over here. They're not going to give you that three. I love not being able to call timeout because your coaching is done before the game at practice.
And it doesn't slow the game down as much. Well, Nicholas Kalinic heads to the line. He is 0 for 2 from the free throw line in this game.
But pretty good overall, 9 of 11 before today, right?
82% shooter in this tournament, and he calmly rattles one in.
Serbia may play the foul game again. If you're France, push it up, drive it, get the short two or the kick out three. It's a two-possession game.
Kalinic makes both. France takes its final timeout. High drama in Madrid. A trip to the championship game against Team USA on the line here in Madrid. Serbia, a 4-point lead on France, who has the ball coming out of a timeout. Fran, what do you expect to see?
You expect to see Serbia foul again, I think, because they don't want France to climb back in this. If you're France, you push fast, try to get to the rim. Maybe you get the short two or the drive and kick three. You need two possessions anyway, so you're going to have to score, set your defense up, try to steal it and foul. You can advance the ball in under 2 minutes like France did, but good defense by Serbia.
Here's Hurdle. Tried to draw contact, rebounded by Bjelica. And the foul on France, and Serbia can taste it.
This is huge for a country that loves its basketball. You think of Lithuania, Croatia, Serbia, they're the size of states in the United States. But their passion for the game is really second to none.
And here is Nemanja Bjelica, an 82% free throw shooter in this tournament. Second round pick of the Wizards back in 2010. Knocks down his third straight free throw.
France, no more timeouts, so they've got to push it.
Both free throws good for Bjelica. France has to hurry. Here's Batum pulling up. Oh, what a three! With 2.1 seconds to go.
Serbia calls the timeout so they can advance the ball three-quarter court and make it more difficult for France now to steal it and hit a three. Easy, simple strategy. Watch the tough shot by Batum, who's been brilliant today. Coach Djordjevic calls the timeout, and then they will advance the ball to the three-quarter court mark at the other end, at their end.
Nicholas Batum with 17 of his 35 points coming here in the fourth quarter. France is 9 of 12 from behind the arc in the fourth.
Kevin, he'll run something that throws the ball more than likely to his corner of the court away from France's basket. The only way France could really win this game right now, minus a major miracle, is a steal at midcourt and a pull-up three. So if you're going to advance the ball from the quarter court, something's got to be run that the pass is made away from France's basket.
Does France have another miracle in them? They shocked Spain in the quarterfinal round. Down by as many as 18 in this game to Serbia. Down 3 with 2 seconds to go.
I'm not in favor of that right there. Remember, you can't throw it into the backcourt. You cannot throw it into the backcourt in FIBA, but I don't like that pass to midcourt.
Teodosic gets it in. Immediately Diaw fouls Simonovic.
Okay, this is easy. If Serbia makes the first, game is over. If Serbia misses the first, they still can make the second, and it'll be a 4-point lead. It won't really matter.
It'll send Marko Simonovic to the line. He's played 15 seconds in this game. 64% free throw shooter in this tournament. 1 second to go.
That's it. Serbia advances. They'll take on the United States for the first time in Olympic or World Championship play.
A thrilling fourth quarter comeback by France, but it will not be enough. 6 players for Serbia in double figures, and it will be Team USA versus Serbia in the championship game of the FIBA World Cup of Basketball.
I said earlier, Kevin, these teams go way back.